Renato.
Good to see you here in Ekaterinburg. I wanted to talk to Kirti, but Kirti couldn't show up, so we'll get you instead.
Dang it.
But anyway, we did a little poll on Twitter who people wanted to hear here in Localization Perspectives, and you were the most voted person. And for those very few people who are watching us who don't know you, you're the guy who is the biggest expert on translation tools in the market. You've been studying this for a long time, and I have a sense that there has been a lot of progress in terms of what is going on in the translation technology, the translation environment tools that you have been following for the last few years. So what has stricken you as the most creative and innovative thing these days in translation technology?
Well, I think that the progress is happening on various fronts. One is that there is increasingly many partnerships between tool vendors. So, for instance, there's partnerships between workflow tools or management tools and translation environment tools. Those things are really positive, I think, and that's real progress that's being made. I think otherwise the biggest feature progress probably is that most everything is being ported online. You know, whether it's just the assets, the translation memory and the terminology databases, or whether it's a complete user interface that is happening online in many tools now these days. And I think that's a big
software as a service is definitely coming.
Oh, it's definitely coming. And I think that, interestingly here in being in Russia, where licensing sometimes has been a problem in the past, one solution to that is the SaaS solution, right?
Yes.
That is, where there is no crack to software, or where there is no way to have a wrongful license. So I think that's among the many advantages of a SaaS solution. That's one of the advantages that strikes me here in Russia as particularly relevant.
So, of the ones that you've seen, I think you mentioned the other day XTM. I think Lingotech has a cloud solution. And I heard that SDL is coming up with a solution similar to that.
No, I don't think so. I mean, SDL will come out, I think, this week actually with the new service pack, which, doesn't change the product. I mean, SDL, I think, will not come out with a completely cloud-based solution for a long time. I think that they're going to, stay with their old model for some time. I mean, obviously they've been very, they've been offering server solutions for quite a few years now, and are doing that quite successfully. But I think that I've been talking about the Trados Studio opportunity, which is the opportunity that presents itself. That Trados Studio being a very different product. Many, I think, have started to look around a bit and have possibly found other solutions, or have at least found an additional tool that they use instead.
Lionbridge came with GeoWorks, and there's some hoopla going on in the industry. I read the other day that the Spanish Translators Association was calling a meeting to discuss how to fight, how did they call it? Paying for working or something like that. What's your? Have you had a chance to look at their technology?
I have, I have, and it's so one thing is the licensing, obviously. That translators who have been used to using Logoport for free for many years now, and have used it quite happily because they like to work for Lionbridge, are now presented with essentially the same technology, slightly advanced, but essentially the same, and have to pay a monthly fee for that, even though if they only work for Lionbridge, they don't have to pay a per word fee, but they still have to have the basic license, and that upsets quite a few people. And I've actually talked to a number of people here at this conference, Russian translators who also want to this is really strange. I'm not willing to do that.
Yeah,
go ahead.
No, I find it interesting because I think that their technology is really good. From what I've seen, and the resources, not only from a translator perspective, but also because they sell the solution to ISPs.
Right.
So it's a in the cloud, very well designed, very robust solution for translation management. That it's pretty good. I really like what I've seen in the past, and I wouldn't even consider using it. But I think that they have started with the wrong foot because the reaction, and I don't know if they hear this reaction, but the reaction on the street is extremely negative, and it's very hard to counter a negative start like that.
And I think I've talked to folks at Lionbridge, and I think that they sort of knew that was going to happen. They still felt it was the right time to release it, and release it the way they did. And I think it's just something they have to bear out and see how it plays out. You're right. The solution on a technical level, I think, is good. What I like is the cloud-based part of it. That the assets are based on the internet, and you don't deal with local translation memories, etc. What I find surprising about the solution and sort of a little 90-ish maybe, or early 2000s, is that much of the work is still being done in Microsoft Word, and it's like, that was 10 years ago, So I'm surprised that they have not found a way I'm not talking about the manager, I'm talking about the translator, for the translator to have an online interface where they, do their translation. But again, that was their call, and I think they just wanted to also use the technology that has proven to be stable, which it has obviously in the last few years.
And the rising star, MemoQ.
Yeah, I think MemoQ has a bright future. The reason why I like MemoQ, aside from the technology, I like the technology of MemoQ, but they're just the team behind MemoQ is just extremely devoted and dedicated, so one thing that I like to tell about Kilgrey, the company that sells MemoQ, is they've had, they set out a business plan, 4 or 5 years ago, and I think they've met every single business goal in town. And, that for guys who are 25 or 28 or something, and look like 16. No, sorry, son.
But the point is that they have excellent customer service.
They do.
Yeah. And I see, following what is going on, announcement after announcement of companies moving their platforms into MemoQ, which has better customer service and a more competitive pricing than the traditional tools. But I have a real curiosity. You've looked at all these tools, you work every day as a translator. Which one do you use?
It's $1 million question. I use Déjà Vu just because I've used it for many years. Way back then I wrote all the documentation for that program, so I know it inside out. And it's a good tool. To be quite honest, I'm not sure that I would decide for Déjà Vu and start from scratch. Now I have all my large translation memories and German tone bases and everything in Déjà Vu. So I'm still very happy with it. It's still a very solid tool. It doesn't crash. It does everything I want it to do. But I just in the last few weeks, I've realized that with solutions like XTM, and there's another one called WordBee, which is very similar. It's a product from Luxembourg.
Right.
Those are what these tools have done is they've managed for the first time to create a user interface in a browser that's translator friendly. Most translators have worked in a browser interface and have hated it because it's very mouse heavy and there's no easy workflow. What these companies have been able to do is produce products that are very focused on the translation process and all that in the browser. So I think that even companies like Kilgrey will be pushed to, to see how they can port their product to the next step, which might be in a complete online-based solution. I don't know, but that's what I'm interested in right now, to see how those new products will challenge some of the more well-situated or up-and-coming players like Filbert.
Jost, this was awesome. Thank you very much.
You.
And next chapter, somewhere else in the world.
That's right.